The first tap of a conductor's wand. The first rivet in a mile-high tower. The master link at the genesis of a never-ending chain. The moment a single empty canvas meets a singular master stroke. There is no one thing. Because now, there are many. Because soon, there will be more. Because one is ever the beginning. Like the first link in an infinite chain, or the first rivet in the tallest skyscraper. The master stroke is found in the masterpiece. What will you begin?
Hey everybody. Welcome to episode 72 of the World Blockchain Roundtable. Today I will be your master of ceremonies, and it's apropos because I'm super excited about this episode. We are going to be delving into your questions, and the only rule is wrong answers only. So our host for today, Joe, founder and architect of Dragon Chain, distant of Den.Social fame and notoriety and genius.
Hello.
John Branch, improv artist and Den.Social contributor and Coffee with Den co-host. Glad to meet you, man. And then we might see is Satoshi Sean here yet? No, he's not. We haven't heard from him yet today.
It's been a few episodes since he stopped in.
Yeah, he may drop in. It is a little early in Sean time for this because he's kind of a night owl. So if we get him, we'll be happy about it. If not, then hopefully he's dreaming of something good. And after all of that, I am Greg Rivet, and let's get out the races. Quick update from last week. Lair ownership tokens. The distribution from last week's episode, each host will receive 50 lot. Each topic contributor from last week will receive 25. Last week's theme on decentralized alternatives to YouTube was nominated by Dragon Chain Hodler, and he will also receive 25 lot. These ownership tokens, as always, come with perpetual passive income, free edits, governance votes, and the satisfaction of a contribution well made. So the theme this week, as I mentioned earlier, is wrong answers only, nominated by yours truly. And before we jump into that, let's talk current events. I think the rule should probably be overtly stated. Current events is going to be a straight-faced thing. We're not going to do wrong-headed takes
Wrong answer
on
current
events because
only ancient Roman.
Well, current events can get you banned with that sort of thing. So.
By the way, we were told that last week's show was throttled, or at least the numbers were noticeably different, being as it was on decentralized YouTube alternatives. Interesting.
What we said.
Something to know is funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Nord Stream 2 current, or is that?
I don't know. It's like 2 weeks old. So I don't know. Things move quick, I don't know what counts as current.
It's amazing how the Straussian neocons are just unleashed on the world right now, man. Like they're everywhere, and they're just like,
what I mean, the theme that
start World War III.
Yeah, the theme that does keep popping up is like, just in discussion, people are talking about nuclear war and like nuking stuff, like nations and governments and cities. And like, John, you're in New York right now. New York put out a video about like what happens if the big one falls. There's like a public service announcement from the city of New York, taxpayer funded, to create a video to tell people in 2022, like, so if you get nuked, here's what you do. And it just seems interesting to me. It's like, I don't know if interesting is the right word. A little bit scary that like officials are just talking about, hey, this might happen. It's like it's the 70s or something. I don't know.
I think it'd be scarier if they weren't. Like, because like there's a level of like propaganda that needs to happen in order for like sheep to be sheep and the people to be people, right? So it worked in the 70s, right? Like, look, just be calm and hide under your desk.
Just get under your desk, you'll be fine.
Yeah, if we weren't trying to keep people calm with like dumb shit, hence like, I don't know, TikTok, the internet, or whatever else is out there, right? Like, we'd have a lot more problems on our hands. You know, we'd have to address real things like, I don't know what's actually happening in the world and like real problems.
Well,
But
they've got to
I would
keep the
say-
roadways unclogged for the elites to get to their actual survival bunkers.
This is funny. I would say what I really want to see is Instagram and TikTok and other social talking about how to keep posting during a nuclear event. Right? It's like, you know, like make sure you can still connect, and you know, make sure your lighting is good.
That's
under the
a
desk.
great
You
one.
have
Yeah.
spare
Priority.
powered lights. You know,
Right. No, the iPhone 15 is going to come pre-equipped if they get there. They manage to, or no, that'll be the 14S, right? It's going to
new
come
sensors
with nuclear blast-proof sensors.
Well, at least sensors to, what do you call those? The dose meters that you would
Right.
you can hook to your thing and your,
Oh,
if everybody
you're talking about
had
sieverts, man.
what do you
Talking
call it?
about sieverts.
But yeah, sensors, so that it's like a distributed sensor network on everyone's phones, so that you know, like, oh, where's the radiation zones? I like what John said about like distractions to focus on. You know, that paradox.
Oh yeah. Well, there are plenty to choose from.
So we've got the potential for nuclear war. We've got I think we decided Nord Stream pipeline is old news, right? Has
Nord Stream
been anything
pipeline
new on
is-
that? Because I know that what would be new news would be like if anybody decides who done it, you know, because there's still that question.
Well, there actually was a guy who broke narrative on like NBC or some bullshit news channel that's, you know, normally supposed to lie to us. Dude came out and said something along the lines of, yeah, actually the consensus around the world is the United States probably did it, which actually I think is potentially jumping the gun myself. But you know, it's more plausible than we turned off these pipes and then decided to blow them up to prove that we could blow up things underwater, which is the justification that the neoconservative Straussians are giving.
That's where that's the only sort of opinions that we have, right? Based on no information really besides speculative logic. Like, you know, if it were the Russians, why would they do it? It would be because X. If it was the US, why would they do it? Well, because Biden said he would, or whatever it is, you know, that kind of thing.
there is a video footage of him saying that they would blow them up if it came down
Well, that
to
was my
it.
point. Yeah, we literally said we would do that, and then it happened.
But-
and people were like, oh, I don't know, maybe it was.
There were also radar signatures for helicopters that were circling the area that would normally have to be stationed a long way away from there.
and some planes and also ships. So
we don't really have any new
I think-
information. It's still
consensus on 4chan is that it was almost certainly something fishy, not the.
well, it wasn't an earthquake
You guys want to hear my tinfoil hat theory?
yeah.
I think it was Germany itself.
of some sort. What's that? You have a
I think it
theory?
was Germany itself. That's my tinfoil hat theory.
Plausible.
This is the theory that goes along the lines of there was political pressure growing to go ahead and make a deal with Russia to buy their gas because winter's going to suck, so they blew it up.
No,
so
because
it's an option.
Because it would be easy to blame the United States for it later, elevating us as a potential global adversary after whatever
Germany,
happens
though?
in Ukraine
Our
happens. I don't know if it's so much Germany as it is Brussels and the EU. There's certainly an advantage there to framing us as kind of the global bad guy.
Well, even if it isn't in opposition, because I would think that it'd be the same crowd over here as over there, but I think there would be a lot of, at least there's a lot of speculation around why in God's name are they obviously pursuing war? I mean, because across the board, they're pursuing war. They want war. So is it just because of the kickbacks from the military industrial complex, or is it to cover up for the fall of the dollar? Right.
Or maybe it's out of retaliation for the strong dollar policies the Fed's executing, regardless of its impacts on the rest of the world. You know, the euro is crumbling at the feet of
I have
strong
some
dollar.
pushback to what Greg was saying, I have seen pushback about like, "Hey, Fed, stop!
Yeah.
Hey, US,
Oh, yeah.
stop! Can you fucking stop? Because we're going to crumble over here."
There was something, and I can't claim to understand all the depths of it, but there was something released by one of the German ministers specifically about the dollar and energy prices, and something that surprised a lot of people, but there was a lot of depth to it that I about international monetary policy. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I'll be able to let you know. I'm going to be in Prague this winter, so I'll
The
be
other
able.
really
Oh, boy.
interesting potential culprit,
Bring some
guys,
firewood.
and I have to throw this one out there too, because most people know about this. There's a pipeline that is currently shut down, natural gas from Syria to Italy. That if Syria were to settle and peaceably turn the flow of gas back onto Italy, that the power center of the EU might shift from Brussels to Rome, which
Wow.
could be pretty interesting. You might actually see Italy having some significant political advantage in the EU for the Nord Stream being destroyed.
Did that PM win? Is that final?
Yes.
Did she win, and she's their president or leader or whatever now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting.
And that's
I don't know if
primarily
she
why I would suspect the U.S. wouldn't do it, because they would suspect that maybe Italy would see an advantage there.
So my theory is so Electric King owned this pipeline, right? And James Bond is trying to stop it. Like there's an issue, right? And
Oh no, you broke up. Yeah, it is like a movie though, right? It is like something out of a movie. All this stuff is going on. Speaking of the EU, I read this morning that they are planning to block or ban all Russian Bitcoin wallets in response to Russia saying that they're going to allow all of like their transactions to be in cryptocurrency and stuff like that. So I wonder if this is the beginning of that, where nation states are like, like individuals have been going at it all the time about Bitcoin and, versus fiat and stuff like that. Now, I haven't spoken to Putin about it or anything personally, but I've seen Disclose .tv is usually pretty, like, they don't blatantly lie about stuff. So if the EU is going to block all the Bitcoin wallets from Russia, number one, where's that KYC information come from? And number two, does this start a bull run for some, more privacy coins? We've been thinking for a while that maybe privacy coins were going to see something we haven't seen. I haven't seen the bull run that people were predicting in privacy coins, but does this make it more real for people if that's the case?
Yeah, I wonder about that, because actually, I just wonder if they have the capacity to even understand what that would take.
I don't know.
To really block it.
I don't know if they can, first of all. So that's one question.
Well,
but
the exchanges, right? Is that what they're talking about?
What's that?
To go into the exchanges and tell them, you can't.
Like tracing the coins back to their origin. If they've ever touched a Russian wallet, they're frozen.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. If it's just exchanges or if it's something else. I don't know.
Well, it'd probably be anybody who has a Russian passport that has an account on a European exchange. Those are the ones that are going to say, okay, these are all blacklisted.
So basically, any exchange doing business in the EU has to adhere to their KYC policy, which includes no Russians.
Yeah.
Well, never let a good crisis go to waste when it comes to coming up with new ways to foist men with guns authority into an otherwise decentralized, permissionless system.
What else is going on? So there's that. Anything not war related? Because that's to talk about.
Is there anything good happening?
There's the St. Louis. There's the men's, or not the men's. Sorry, the United States chess championship going on right now in St. Louis.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff happening there.
Is that cheater guy? Have you heard anything about that?
Who was it? Which one? Because I saw the post about it and they never said who it was.
So it was a guy named Hans Niemann.
Okay.
It's who I think you're referring to. You said the cheater guy.
Alleged.
Yeah. So basically, like Magnus Carlsen.
No.
Yeah, Magnus Carlsen, like arguably the greatest chess player of all time, and the current world champion. who he's just held it so long. He's like, I don't want it anymore. He basically like gave up his title. He's like, I'm good. This isn't fun for me anymore. But he's still chess.
He no longer enjoying the ride.
But there's a belt that comes with it, right?
I'm sure it's a nice leather belt from like Calvin Klein or something. And so he he was playing chess against this younger kid who like had cheated twice over the board in his life when he was younger. And he's like 19 now and cheated when he was like 12 and 16, but then has cheated like online as well. And then, so he was like, I think he cheated or something was off when he played him in person and he lost. But also like statistically, Magnus Carlsen did not play a very good game. So I've been studying this a lot.
Wow.
And then,
the one thing that I saw about it was that his whole argument for calling him a cheater was that like you shouldn't have been able to beat me because I'm better than you.
no, that wasn't the argument.
I think they were saying that the moves were and I don't know how they arranged this, but the moves were very much what one of the AIs would produce, which are, I guess, known things. I don't know.
He was playing basically like there's computer moves, which is like you do something weird and makes no fucking sense. But then like 45 minutes later and 30 moves later or whatever, like it now makes sense, which is not natural for a person.
Yeah.
And he played like a couple things that were kind of like that. But the big thing was that over the board, his mannerisms were really weird. Is like the other thing. It's like you
kind of suggested that maybe the gross sort of joking accusation might have credence to it. Did you guys hear about that?
So
what they accused him of doing to cheat?
Oh, did they say? Oh, I unfortunately, I read that he had some activated communications through a butt plug, but that was unfortunate.
Yeah, like a lush, like programmed in sequence.
I don't know, right?
It's
anyway.
it was like four. I was like, what?
So that was like, it's really funny when that came out because there was basically why that got big was a guy was like, I can make this in 20 minutes. And a person just made the actual device that you could leave on your person and it would like vibrate basically vibrate as Morse code to tell you where to move.
The same stuff they do in Las Vegas, right? I mean, if when they have somebody, signaling to people, right?
Well, so they have ways to catch that. So you have to basically find a way to keep it on you. Mm-hmm. And you go through like a metal detector and you kind of get searched before, not super thoroughly all the time. So the big joke was that he decided to use anal beads. And yeah, it's pretty.
It worked though. The commissioners
I think
do something about this, man. I hope they start making every single chess match that's of any.
That's the thing. They're going to get more views this way. It's going to become it's like, we need to watch this. They're cheating. I need to watch this.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Everybody's saying it's actually going to go the opposite though. Like, because like chess blew up during COVID because everybody's sitting at home playing chess.
Right.
And then now it's like, oh, this thing I love is now becoming corrupt. I don't want to watch this corrupt sport kind of deal.
Yeah. What if people just got really good while they were at home on COVID? And that's why it won.
Possible too. I mean, Queen's Gambit was an awesome film and it got chess out there.
That was a great show.
It was So like, and that's the argument too, is that like people were just staying at home, getting better. And that's what like Hans Niemann did, is he like basically became a hermit for like 2 years, lived out of a briefcase and did nothing but study chess. And then he wins and we're surprised. But also his like chess coach is a known cheater as well. So he's not like his argument.
Yeah.
Reputation. I don't think it was a sex toy that helped him win, but there could quite possibly be something.
Well, what's going to happen when
you think you could get sponsorship from them? Like,
I would love that. Oh my god, that'd be so.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
If he's sponsored by Lush, he should lean into it. Like, Oh, that'd be really great. Just sponsored by Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That's ridiculous.
That's where the money is, man. You can't make money.
It's our business. Now let's play chess.
Well, you know, the funny thing is you could actually make an interesting game out of that if you wanted to take the analogy to absurd extremes, right? Like if you were transmitting things over the wire to some device, let's say it's not your butt. Let's say it's, you know, hooked behind your ear because we don't want to be gross. But you know, now all of a sudden your team may have some advantage to engaging in electronic warfare, right? So if you allow these transmissions openly, then you could also allow interdiction measures. So you might be getting lured the wrong way.
Oh my gosh.
By an appropriate electromagnetic signal.
Three-dimensional chess.
Interesting.
I think
So
if that's
somebody's like transmitting wrong moves, and that'd be pretty.
Well, it's like imagine, I guess, if it was you know, like Kriegspiel, but you do Total War Krieg, you know, so it would be like anything goes. You can cheat.
It's like that whole chess version of Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball from the Super Nintendo.
I thought it was funny too, because they were talking about like, how can we combat this? And it's like, oh, we could have like radio and frequency jammers, but like you're legally not allowed to do that in case somebody has to dial 911. So like the one thing that could easily just stop all this bullshit, they can't do, because if there could be an emergency at a chess match.
Well, is that actually legal, or is it policy and
TSA has
liability?
Technology.
Because it could just be a waiver thing. He's like, if you're going to this chess match, there's no comms. You can't, you know, you could just sign a waiver. Maybe. I don't think that they have a law. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, all of them are saying that I swear I'm not cheating and don't have a communication device on me.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that if they did jam all frequencies, potentially it could either be a waiver signed by the governor, say, yes, we'll allow this in this one facility, or it could be, if you are anywhere near this, you have to sign a waiver because you aren't going to be able to call 911.
So you put them in a cage that's a Faraday cage.
Yep. And then the great thing is the total war is even crazier because of the actual violence that could occur. It's like somebody makes a move and you reach across the table and
chess total war.
Oh yeah. No, you could totally do something like just a really harsh penalty. Like if you get caught cheating, then you know, you've already promised in advance to donate a kidney. You know.
Oh yeah.
That'd stop it.
Yeah, just
it'll save some lives in it along with it. So like
dishonor for all of your progeny, right? For all time, something.
It's a win-win.
So here's my tinfoil hat theory that ties everything together.
Okay,
all right,
go.
Have you guys seen? Do you know anything about Bobby Fischer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Bobby Fischer like went nuts because he thought the Russians, whether or not they were the Russians and like the KGB, were like spying on him, manipulating him, like messing with his food and stuff like that. Okay, Hans Niemann is really a Russian agent. Okay, his name's Hans Niemann, but he's a U.S. like citizen and chess player. So he's here trying to manipulate chess and make screw with the balance in the world slowly, just through chess, though. And that's it. And that's why the pipeline. That's why the pipeline blew.
That's why the pipeline.
Yeah.
They found that was the channel by which all the moves were coming, or something. I guess.
Yeah.
That was the signal.
There we go. I think we cracked it. We cracked it, man.
Lisa, like when Lisa,
glad you invited me on the show. Aren't you glad here?
Yes, we do.
So I was going to ask
one more
if
interesting current event. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead. I'll wait until after because it's about the rules for today. I'm like trying to still process.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, cool. The one last interesting current event I think is worth noting is if you guys follow or know of Chris Black, who is on the MakerDAO's delegates, like he's among the group of people who has a significant amount of voting power delegated to him, and is sort of a known representative of MakerDAO, has been blowing the whistle pretty hard lately about Maker attempting to make deals to go further into USDC in sort of weird corporate handoff, shady deals with Coinbase, where they want to create a spin-off entity and then give a whole bunch of DAI in a grant to this entity so that it can then put them in the custody of Coinbase. And Coinbase has promised to pay a 1.2% rate of return on that. And it's like billions of DAI.
Does DAI remind me how governance works with MakerDAO? Is DAI itself a governance token, or is it something different?
Maker, the token, is the governance token for MakerDAO.
Okay.
And DAI is the algorithmic stablecoin that gets now a disproportionate amount of its stability, its peg stability from USDC, which, as we all know, is backed 1-to-1 by the dollar, and the organization that controls it has the ability to turn it off.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that would surprise me. There's all kinds of fuckery going on when it comes to large sums of money like that. Like, use my thing. No, use my thing.
So the worry is that with these governance proposals coming before MakerDAO right now, all of the people saying we should be running away from this because it's if Coinbase wanted to make a deal directly with Maker, right, they wouldn't be able to because they have to comply with OFAC, and Maker can't promise that nobody will use DAI to do something, go with an illegal address or whatever. They can't open a vault. They can't do it the traditional way. But if they do it like this, then they claim some kind of plausible deniability there. But it also gives them leverage over MakerDAO because they can refuse to release it at any point in time. It's now an entity that they can refuse to give it back to, as opposed to a CDP that can be closed. This also helps them sort of double lever up any USDC they might have opened CDPs in, giving them even more inordinate amounts of control over the Maker ecosystem.
So what would be the control of the Maker ecosystem, like, which is, if maybe you can better describe this for people that don't know. It's a pretty big ecosystem, and it's a lot of people and a lot of years of people's lives have been put into developing that. So what would be the benefit of having that control? What would that achieve?
Well, if you could, for instance, decide all of a sudden to get rid of a stablecoin that could, in theory, operate without any centralized coin backing, where you could have nothing but a single collateral DAI that was just opened in ETH, right? Or if you ditched USDC and replaced it with something else like Colt or something like that. You could basically keep this thing running without banks, without any regulatory oversight, without any interference from the outside. And as long as Ethereum is running, you can still transact in DAI, right? The trade-off would be less stability in the peg. It would fluctuate 5 cents one way or the other, right? You'd shake out all the institutional players. It would be a re-decentralization of the DAI token. Or if it's overly into this, then then you break it. You can break it in a way that makes it so that the DAO itself can't get back the necessary DAI to prevent a global collateral sell-off. So they could basically force the only option that the DAO has in case of some kind of emergency be to push the dump everything button. Basically forcing everybody's position to liquidate all at once.
So it's an unknown, but it's basically undue influence being engineered.
Right. And because they're already basically coming out and saying we can't just do it the traditional way because, we got to comply with OFAC. How long before OFAC's given Coinbase a call and saying, hey, you need to put the crank on MakerDAO?
Are you saying that OFAC is a protection against a hostile takeover in this sense?
No, I'm saying that OFAC is potentially going to have a lever to this otherwise supposedly decentralized stablecoin.
The opposite.
Once these kinds of deals get made. So,
Word.
institutional control over what was supposed to be something that only has a purpose if it's decentralized.
Huh.
So, yep. Anyway, recommend checking out Chris Black's stuff. I listened to a very fucking informative Twitter space that's recorded and out there where you can hear about all this. That's just one of the deals they're getting into. They're basically just trying to save people's jobs in the down economy, but it's compromise the whole point of DAI. So worth looking into if that's something that you guys find curious.
I might have to check it out. I don't know enough about it. I'll have to do some research.
Yep, absolutely.
So
cool.
About the rules today.
Yes.
Were we specifically? Does it apply to the commenters?
The only way this rule was intended to apply when I wrote it was that we could only reply with wrong answers, or we only ought to reply with wrong answers. To the best of our knowledge, commenters can play it however they want.
Okay.
I personally think that there's probably room for both, but the hard and fast rule applies to us only. So
very good.
Except to the extent that we accidentally say something right when we think we're getting it wrong.
Oh, I'm hoping we get an answer or a question for which there is no wrong answer.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. All right. Well, I suppose we're far enough in. You guys want to jump over to the questions and see what we got?
Yeah, I was already scanning them to see if I could get some good wrong answers in my head.
Ooh,
cool.
I should have done that.
I like
I'm coming just completely cold by the way. Okay. This is a great question. Y'all weird brings us, what's really going on in Antarctica?
Yeah, this is one of those where if you accidentally say something that is right, because I would sarcastically say that there's Nazi UFOs and Hitler's a robot, like in that one movie. Like there's a lot of Operation High Jump stuff that's just really weird out there. But, so Antarctica, man, obviously that's where the predators are fighting the aliens on their to prove themselves.
Look, Dave, I've seen that documentary. Okay.
I haven't seen the second part, the Requiem to the documentary. It was convincing.
Yeah.
So my answer is just pure science, just scientists doing science things in the middle of nowhere in the cold for science reasons.
And so the reason that internationally there's rules against going there is just because you don't want to disturb the scientists in their work.
Right. I mean, just like on the ISS. I mean, you wouldn't want, it's like, we just. Now, the funniest thing, this isn't a wrong answer, just some extra info around it. I've met two people that have been there, and one of them went there to run a marathon, which kind of blew my mind. It's like, wait a minute, there was a marathon? Yeah, it's like, yeah, you get on this ship and you go down there, and it was. He was a school teacher that lived his neighbor, and he had run a marathon on all the other continents, and that was his, it's like he had to go to Antarctica and run a marathon. And anyway, it was just, I was very interested. Like, I did not know they did that. So anyway.
To me, I think really the most important thing about Antarctica is how all those polar bears that are native to the area are dying of thirst because all of the global cooling is forcing a lot more ice formation than you would normally expect. And since there's no landmass centered, because it's basically just an ice cap full of water. It's not like the North Pole where the penguins live, right? Those poor polar bears, man, they can't get in through the ice to get fish. It's too thick.
So here we see the style.
And they're dying of thirst because they can't even drink any water because it's all frozen over. So, I think the most important thing we can do is bring back chlorofluorocarbons so we can punch a hole in the ozone layer and maybe burn through that ice and help the poor polar bears.
Oh, something very interesting. I was blown away by this. I'll have to look for. I saved it. The post that I saw, but 60 minutes episode that was about CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, and the hole in the ozone layer happened to coincide with the loss by time of a patent on cooling that then was changed, and now all of our coolant is a different patent, and they've made the first illegal because of the hole in the ozone. I was like, what?
That actually is absolutely true. It's not a wrong answer.
That's true. It's not an answer to this question, so it's okay that this is true, right?
I was reading about that in, I think his name is Kerry Mullis, the guy who invented the PCR testing, basically the PCR thing, the Nobel Prize in chemistry fella. He has a whole section in his book about CFCs and brings up the same thing. It's like, it happens to be that there was a patent expiring and we had to have all this research saying that, oh, this is bad, you can't use it anymore.
Okay. Again, on the true side of this one, I just have to throw this in real fast. I was real pissed when they took the CFC inhalers away. That could not have been contributing too much to anything. And the HFA ones that they're now getting rid of, because apparently,
like inhalers,
for asthma inhalers, for real. The old CFC propellant inhalers were a lot more effective, and they tasted better too.
They're talking about the coolant. The coolant is actually from that patent stuff that the other coolant is radically more efficient than the second generation, and now the third generation are going to. We're just getting less and less efficient, which means you're going to be upsetting the environment more and more. But they're using the whole green argument to push that. It's crazy. Anyway, enough with the right answers. Sorry about that.
Well, from what I hear about all of that, we've really got to worry about heating things anyway. So otherwise, like I said, the polar bears. I don't know what the Antarctican government's doing about this, but I feel like all of the people there are just ignoring their environment to everybody's detriment. Someone should probably sanction them.
Well, I think the most important thing to bring up about Antarctica, really, though, is that it doesn't even exist. Right? There's a lot of people talk about Antarctica. Oh, this whole thing down there, Antarctica. But Antarctica is it's completely fake news. Because as we know, as you get closer to the edge of the Earth, it's just a wall, right? And whenever you project the flat Earth onto a round map, it just makes it look like that wall is into a little circle, and that's a little, Antarctica thing there. But it's not real. It's a big hoax. Antarctica itself is a hoax. If you didn't know. That's my favorite.
Take this very serious theory into deep consideration.
Yeah. That's my favorite fun fact about Antarctica. So nothing's going on there.
Brilliant. Oh, the prime minister still has to answer for something, because whether or not it's a real place, that person is just screwing things up. So anyway, I think we've covered everything we can. The mythical Antarctica.
All right, there goes Antarctica. Which, by the way, if the Earth is flat, what's on the other side?
That's the grand mystery.
It's a turtle holding it up.
It is. It's a turtle. The funny thing is, I had a friend. I can't remember what. There's some series of books where it's based upon the turtles, and people, I can't remember who that is, wrote that whole thing. And then I go to my hometown where I went to school, and we went to this Native American. There's a monument and a statue and stuff, and they talk about the natives in that area. That literally was their worldview. That it was that we were all riding on top of a turtle. It was crazy. It's like it blew my mind.
I thought that
like,
Oz was on the underside of the Earth.
Yeah. Anyway, pretty cool.
The all the way down thing, right?
Or like maybe China too, because you can dig a hole there, right? Okay. Anyway, Hyperdeflationary Dev asks, as blockchain technology will continue to go mainstream in 2023 as more Web 2 companies are engaged in transitioning over to a Web 3 customer experience, what are the blockchains you see devs building upon that will make the largest impact? Any other than Solana, Phantom, Polygon, and Hedera?
Obviously, it's Luna Classic. That's the future. That's the future. I mean, you can just see it, and like all joking aside, it's crazy. Lunacy to me, because it actually, people are still like investing into that for some reason. But no, I think it would be funny. Like Elon says, that the most hilarious outcome is the most likely.
I'm a safe maximalist myself.
One out there. Is that the question? What's going to be heavily built upon?
Yeah. So I've been like looking into this a little bit. I did some research before coming on the show, even though, I weekly am on a show that talks about cryptocurrency. There's been some cool stuff with Legos. They've got a new blockchain coming out. Really sturdy. You just build on top of each other, and like basically with Legos you can make anything. There's master builders. There's master builders that can kind of put whatever you need together. Like, let's say you want to start like a house, you can build that with Lego blockchains. You could really build a house.
So are they actually getting like the blocks are getting extra links? Like right now there's the little nubs where you build on the nubs, but a Lego blockchain would be like, there's a different way to connect the Legos. So it's another dimension to Legos.
So they're not called nubs, first of all, they're called nodes.
Nodes.
Nodes that you use to connect your blockchain together. Okay. And with Web3, things are getting more complicated, and they're looking to go like really just 3-dimensional with this stuff, because blockchain is such like an ethereal idea of stuff. Like really, like people are looking for a blockchain they can hold in their hand. I can't hold a cryptocurrency. I can't hold a Bitcoin in my hand, but I can hold a US dollar. I got to find a way to replace this US dollar.
Maybe that's the solution to people that call it money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can hold a Lego blockchain in your hand, then it's real. Right. People would invest in that. People would invest in anything.
You know what? I think you're onto something there. Though I think you've got to always stop and really make a strong case too for Bitcoin Cash, because really, if you're not a Bitcoin Cash maximalist by now, I don't think you're paying attention.
That's a spicy one, Greg. I don't know how to respond to that one, but Bitcoin Cash is legitimately,
I would say, as a developer or engineer,
not used by a lot of people at all, and I don't think it probably ever will be. So in response to the question, I don't think people are going to build on Bitcoin Cash at all. But I hate to slam
how it could be big also.
Terrible tech either.
But see, I think as an engineer, gosh, and I'm this whole episode has kind of got me screwed up. But one way or another, that gosh, am I supposed to be honest on this because it's not the actual question? Because about the question, I would say Tron, all the way Tron.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Tron.
Okay, but as to this, I think it's odd that when you talk about something being built on Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or anything, they're supposed to just be currencies. So I'm like, wait, you would use them, I guess, but I don't know about building anything on them or with them. It's kind of odd, right? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
What are you going to build with the US dollar, like as a currency? You can build money stuff. You build a house. Blockchain.
You can fold it into chain links, right? And you can stack it in blocks. So technically, you could make a paper currency blockchain, quite literally.
This is giving me ideas for a proposal for a future episode, by the way. So,
good.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, to Joe's point, I guess if we make the wrong answer and then allow that to lead us into something where we don't have to continue.
I guess it's kind of hard otherwise. It's like if we're just speaking and like if this is like April Fool's Day and everything is opposites, that's really hard, right?
So we've got Lego blockchain, we got Tron, we've got Bitcoin Cash, and mine was.
I almost forgot ETH-POW. ETH-POW. Oh yeah, those guys are going to kill it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
All right. This is like the driest episode yet. Oh man.
Here's the
question. I was going to be surprised if this next question did not show up.
Okay. All right. So I am for I am. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto, who created blockchain? In parentheses.
Can I say that
six question
Satoshi
marks.
Nakamoto and Satoshi Shon have never appeared in the same place.
I like
And
where your
since
head's
he is
at.
not here, and he probably saw this question, that's who I'm going to point to. Right?
You know, somebody got angry at him during one of our episodes because he had his hat on that said Satoshi, and somebody was like, "You're never going to be even a fraction of what Satoshi was. He was a smart guy, and you're stupid." Whatever he said, you know. I was like, "Bro,
Really? People.
But maybe that's really what the hat is about. Is he's you know, Satoshi Nakamoto would never overtly, he would never come out and say that he was Satoshi, and he would never he would never even, he especially wouldn't, like, you know, take anyone to court over it. But he would wear a hat, you know, ironically, that said Satoshi.
I do agree.
And that would indicate who he was, but with plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joe, I think you're onto something. I think Satoshi Shon might be Satoshi Nakamoto. He just changed his last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
You know, I think that it's actually Kimball Musk.
Is that Elon's mom?
No, it's Elon's little brother. He's been in the back room for everything that Elon touches, technically, right? Like, he was there for the very, very first mapping venture they did. He was part of X. He's been on the board of Tesla and SpaceX. He's got his own brilliant projects. This guy is a dark horse, man. I mean, people are pointing to Elon Musk and saying, you know, surely Elon, but really, no, it's got to be Kimball, all the way.
So I like where your head's at. Where it's like it's the person behind the person, because they actually have that point of view. But I think the problem you have is that's way too young, right? Like, you want somebody who's seasoned, who's seen the world, who's been around, who has been able to develop all these connections and had like deep, long-lasting connections.
Sufficiently bread-built, yeah.
Number one person that was behind a powerful person, okay, who has a big investment in chains, Dick Cheney. I'm telling you, it's Dick Cheney. Yeah,
it's in his name.
It's
Dick
right
Cheney.
there.
It's obvious,
right?
Okay. The old curmudgeon puppet master himself. All right, Dick Cheney.
It's like every Hollywood villain that tells you their plan. You know, it's right there in the name, man.
Yeah.
Halliburton would totally be in on that too. Like, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. See, this has just been a long plan for Dick Cheney to get rich off of blockchain.
Rich.
Wow. Tying the yarn on a map over here.
That's actually some. I like it. That's good semantic humor. That's beautiful.
Pretty fucking epic.
It's what I do for a living.
Wow. Was that prepared?
Nope.
That's very good.
I think my longest theory has been that it's just the same guy that invented Nintendo and Kawasaki bikes and Yamaha's guitars and stuff like that. It's all
the same person. That's all the same person.
Yeah. But really, I think it's Dick Cheney. I think Dick Cheney invented a way for him to get rich off of blockchain.
Yeah, because he wanted, with the current events, that's why Russia's allowing all these Bitcoin transactions and stuff, right? He saw the future. He was like, I'm going to need to transact with a nation state that we're at war with and get around sanctions. So I'm going to have to invent this thing, a decade or so ahead of time, so that it's in use by the time we go to war, and then I can buy oil from them with this fake.
I mean, that's actually, there's a lot you could say there. I mean, he would have known prior to 9/11 what was coming. He would have, known prior to those other. That's actually pretty brilliant.
Yeah. Also, he would have needed a way to make deals and barter and trade without using the U.S. Treasury, right? In backdoor deals and stuff like that, because that's his job as the vice president. President shaking hands and kissing babies. He's in the back, making deals, and he needs a way to make those deals without using like the U.S. dollar. Inventing cryptocurrency. Invest
So,
use
yeah.
the block.
So what you're saying is that Kamala's really the one running the country, while Joe's out there being the face of the White House.
I'm saying Dick Cheney's still running the country.
Oh,
Okay.
today.
Yeah, I'm saying
The only
Dick Cheney.
other so in the same vein though, now you've kind of sparked another potential in my mind, because if it's not him, it's got to be Larry Fink, right? BlackRock. I mean, who else is going to benefit from the most from the military-industrial complex growing all that opium in Afghanistan while they were there, right? Like, they had to sell that somewhere, and so obviously they set up Ross Ulbricht as a patsy. The real Dread Pirate Roberts is also Larry Fink, right? So the drug trade that they created in that needed some medium of exchange that they could plausibly deny they were controlling.
I like this line of logic where it's like, it's the most evil people doing the most evil things because they ran up against a wall where they couldn't do more evil because there were limitations in the existing systems that were fighting back. So they had to invent a way to get around so they could do even more evil. And that's why they invented Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is evil.
I think but here's the thing. You have to have a level of menace and evil in the world, or else you get like Sauron, or else you get the Joker, right? Or else you get these crazy, like, extremist evil people, right? So by keeping just a little bit of gun running, a little bit of opium running, right?
Like an outlet, like a valve, like a blow off valve.
Exactly. By having this level of fighting back and forth and evil and just think about even like putting out let's circle all the way back to the beginning, putting out what to do in case of a nuclear strike. You have to have this level of distraction and things to point fingers at that this is evil and stuff, so we don't get the guy on the moon with the laser beam trying to destroy Earth.
Wasn't that some of the subtext of the Dark Knight, that this craziness was brought about by Batman because he basically put all of the crime, pushed him into a corner?
100%.
Joker pops up. Yeah. That's
right.
That's a very good point.
So it could even be a coalition, right? Like, it could be sort of like the Legion of Doom of all these guys together. Like, maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's Dick Cheney working with the secretly still alive zombie Koch brothers with I don't know who else. Klaus Schwab is probably in on it.
But have you seen Loki, like the TV show?
I have. Yeah.
I forget what the little organization they have is, like the CDC or something like that. But basically, it's this organization that keeps bad things happening so that the timeline stays correct, right? So that there's order in the universe. Because if there's no evil, there's not going to be any order, right? There's no pull, like, back and forth and push. So you have to have this level. So I'm going to say Dick Cheney is the brains of it purely because of the name.
No.
And then you got Mr. Fink over there doing his own thing.
Right.
Okay.
And they're in a coalition. They're in a club.
The name says it all.
Pentaveret.
Yeah, this is the Pentaveret. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now, can I say one thing?
Shit, we forgot about Max Boot, though. He's in there too.
Oh, yeah. You always have him. Can I say one thing? I mean, anybody who hasn't at least paused in their holding of Bitcoin, knowing that there's no way that the cryptographic curves created by NIST are not compromised ahead. There's no way, in my opinion.
Right, because you're talking about like SHA 512, basically, or what
one and the curves, you see. I can't even remember. Geez, I'm blanking. I had a huge migraine yesterday, so I lost bits of memory, I think. So anyway, but anybody who hasn't paused and holding Bitcoin in particular, but also even other crypto, there's something there. I still believe that they could like
there's collisions that are unpublished.
Yeah,
it's like a 0 day.
yeah, as much as everybody says it's unstoppable, it's the decentralized the network itself is brilliant, but if those curves are compromised, the whole thing.
I would bet it's probably in the mnemonic key phrases if there's a flaw.
I hate those things, man.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet that there's some kind of weird tendency of the program to select, mnemonic key phrases that overrepresents certain.
Can I tell you another thing? And this is humorous, at least. I wanted to start a startup back years ago that would essentially say, okay, if you send the mnemonic key phrase that you use, you send it to us, and we'll give you your fortune. Because it reads like a freaking fortune cookie.
Like a fortune cookie.
It's like, this has to mean something.
Man, people would do that. That's the sad part. Is like, if you look at look at all the data that like Cambridge Analytica collected just by giving people Facebook apps that said, which superhero are you most like? Fill out all the personal information that identifies your specific type of personality so that we know who to target with our particular ad. Because now we know who's susceptible to it. People do. All you would be able to like. It's like a fluffy bunny package, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm like Loki," or "Oh yeah, I'm compromised."
You probably put a $25 Applebee's gift card drawing out there and get most words submitted just for a chance to win.
And I was putting in this morning. Most complicated way I could think of to send John a link to join the show today was I was texting it to him, but I had the link on my computer. So I was like, how do I get it from point A to point B? I could have used like a thumb drive or anything, but I installed Session and I put in my mnemonic seed phrase from my phone so that I could link my account so that I could paste it into there so that I could get it in my phone so that I could text it to John.
Right.
Anyway, that's what I was just thinking about because I used one of those phrases this morning and I was like, this is too easy. This shouldn't be so easy.
Honestly, right. I think it's crazy that like people fall for that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, just think a little bit, and like, so, and I like, this is 100% like honest thing. Like, I hope when I finally get my money back from the African prince that I lent a couple $1,000s to, when I kind of get my $1 million from him, I want to start a nonprofit to help educate people about scams because they're real and you got to watch out.
It's good that you have that seed money with the with interest coming, so that'll be really that's charitable. That's really good. And you would be the one to teach people especially how to make money on the internet is what that's about. Well, without getting
I do guys just have to pause the fun and games here real fast. For anybody listening who does not know this and who would not reiterate this to any at all, never, ever share those words. Don't write them down in a place that is not kept in a safe. If you write them down at all, don't write them down in order. Put them in a different order. Memorize that order. Ideally, never come up with any excuse to put them in a digital medium. Don't screenshot them. Don't share them. And for the love of God, don't enter them into a web form. We really can't joke about this thing because it's really super important that people not hear otherwise. Sorry, I had to break.
You do want to make it. You don't want people to take it too lightly because we're making jokes about it. In other words.
Right. Yeah. This is some very dry satire we've been engaging in with this. And it was really funny to folks who may have heard this before, and probably a lot of you guys get the joke with us. But for people who may be listening for the first time, please do not share those.
Yeah, your mnemonic seed phrase, John, is just like the keys to your entire wealth.
Okay. I know what it is. You keep telling
me. I didn't know if you were on the level with that or not.
I've got one, okay, and it's really complicated. It's 14 apple pie sugar 36294.
Oh, that's a good one. What was that again?
I've seriously always wanted to do like a fake Instagram post or a fake Twitter screenshot that looks for all the god like it's a mnemonic phrase screenshot of a popular wallet, but it actually reads out as a sentence. Get to the end of it. It says something along the lines of "fuck off." I'm not giving you this phrase, but you don't quite catch that until the end. I haven't gotten the right words, but I'm generating lots of wallets, so, so we'll see. We'll see if it finally turns up with a decent sentence for me.
All right. We strayed from who. So did we decide? Did we decide who Satoshi was?
Oh, it's clearly Craig Wright, duh.
And Cheney and the.
I'm going with Cheney. Yeah.
Cheney and
Craig Wright was probably from a different nation state intel sponsor, I assume. So
he's clearly the one that we're supposed to say it is. Anyway,
right.
Hyperion Frequency. Always welcome your contributions. Let's see. We've got, when will society be ready to evolve past humanity?
Transhumanism.
At T Swift Odal. Is that?
That's my name.
That's what it's supposed to say. It's a typo. Yeah. T Swift.
Okay. Has a frame of mind that's on the right track and not far from the compossibility. Okay. When will society be ready to evolve past humanity? Let's take this first.
What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for to evolve into a transhuman or a post-human existence? That's like, what are we? Technology. We'll be ready when the tech arrives. That's a real answer though. I can't give that one.
So I'd like to say we already have. Look,
okay.
Yeah, already gone past humanity. Okay, humanity was when we were grunting at each other, trying to figure out how to start fire, hitting things with sticks, like, you know, trying to just get like through those barbarian times in a cave, drawing stencils of naked women on the walls. Like, you know, like that's we've evolved past that. We are not only humanity anymore. We are the things we interact with. Like, we are the blockchain and the internet and the Web3 that like are integral and important to our lives, you know? Like, tell me that this is humanity, right? Like, we like big ass buildings, construction, all of this like is part of our fiber in our being and in our society. Even if you live in the middle of nowhere and still grunt to each other, like, this is still hardcore affecting you, right? And we are no longer just humans on Earth. We are the cement and the soil and the radio frequencies through the air. We have gone past humanity. Humanity just has to realize it.
We are ideas. We are ideas,
profound, my friend.
So if we do start World War III, we'll be getting back to our humanity.
Yeah, if like basically it would just be like a reset button.
If
Did the is that what happened with the Mayans? I hear they just kind of disappeared. Did they just vanish and become energy?
No, that was just yellow fever.
Oh,
right.
Makes more sense.
Well, I mean, and local conquests, right?
Yeah. That was the Spanish yellow fever. That's what it was.
Oh, Lisa has a good point. Neuralink. When Neuralink is a reality, chat, like when Lisa said Neuralink. I was thinking about Neuralink when we were talking about the chess
company.
You know, if you had an on-board computer that didn't require you to go out and like have anybody telling you what the moves could be, the AI that's in your head, that's in your Neuralink, could be the one interpreting the world around you and telling you what to think, say, and do. Maybe that's the point where we have embedded AI. What are the people called? The other selves? You have more than one person in your head. That's what the AI
schizophrenic, but I don't know if that's really what that is.
Oh,
They always say, "Oh, it's not that. It's not." I don't know. I think I have an answer based on that. So I don't think Neuralink would be the point that people would evolve past humanity. I think it would be when the Chinese knockoffs start pushing out on Amazon that have the phone home there'll be compromised devices that not only will they, I'm gonna hook up these new Christmas lights. It's like, why do my Christmas lights need Wi-Fi? It's like, oh, because the Chinese want to know, they want to be able to pull in the rest of your comms, right? So similarly,
so we would evolve into drones, because then we would have remote.
Kind of like in the SpongeBob movie.
Is that how the AI takes over? Like we have AI controllers that are controlling the Neuralinks through the Wi-Fi Christmas lights, so that humans lose their humanity and become the playthings of AI digital beings.
Yep, that's it.
Fascinating.
So here's my answer to this question. It's twofold. First off, how do you know that you are not actually just imagining everything inside your head? All the living, all the dead, every single person, all of us on this screen right now, the whole internet, everyone around you, all the things you know, the songs you've heard, the books you've read, all the TV you've watched, everything. Fabrications of your singular mind, and solipsism reigns. Descartes was wrong because you invented that too. And you woke up one day and dreamed the world. Humanity is a construct of just your mind, asker of question. And that's it. Everything around you is actually just sort of like your own simulation. So that's a possibility. We could all just be figments of your imagination.
Well, and if
now,
you guys, okay.
if we're not, then what we really need is this. We really need an authoritarian technocracy to take over the world, arguably, ideally by subterfuge, and then ultimately implement a very strict regimen of energy consumption limitations on everyday people, so that humanity can become sustainable. Only once we eliminate all individuality and do away with all inequality, can we ever possibly transcend our humanity. And because until individuals no longer exist, human society cannot transcend individual humans.
I had
the answer is in Davos, though, I'm pretty sure.
I hadn't thought about that, because what's the what they want to reduce the population to? Is it 500,000 or is it whatever the number?
Know they gave us a number. I don't know.
There's a number on. Well, there was a number on those Ted Turner's rocks down there in Georgia. But I wonder if that's maybe the number of actual humans, because I would think all of you are real humans and not imagined by me. But watching the like say a WebM thread on 4chan, you can't tell me that there isn't at least some population on Earth that are NPCs, that are just truly, these people. Like, have you ever seen the one where the lady just accidentally ends up in that garage? She's walking along and the guy is on his motorcycle and the garage closes on her, and she just kind of goes in there and then just starts looking around. It's like, it's bizarre. It's like, there's no way that's an actual real person. That's definitely, something programmed. It's bizarre.
I do wonder what goes on in people's heads sometimes and how they interpret the world around them. But I contribute that just to a dynamic range of sentience. Maybe. My favorite version of those that you're talking about, though, is where they put it to, like, I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan. I love, like, Bethesda's Elder Scrolls games. And so when they put it to, like, music from the Oblivion game, because their games are, Oblivion especially, is renowned for having poor AI and poor, like, NPC logic, I guess. Right. And so there's like, video game. And then you have examples of real freaking humans doing stuff that you would expect, like, a dumb AI in a video game to do.
The entire city guard is vulnerable to attacks by breaking to the right because everyone of them took an arrow in the knee. Right?
I didn't even know the context when I started watching it, but somebody on Den constantly posts those to the meme and the humor layers. I can't remember who it is, but those are sometimes just bizarre, right? So, anyway.
Here's a fucked up idea. What if we already have transcended? We are in an ancestor simulation, and we are all that shitty AI.
Isn't that what John said?
All of us NPCs.
I think so.
So but then why is Dick Cheney so powerful? Like, come on, like.
Yeah, who said that?
Yeah, come on.
Maybe that's the Master Chief. Maybe that's the player.
Well, maybe it's the demon that's the literal system demon that's running to keep everything else in, which is also why I invented blockchain, because it would then give our lives meaning.
Makes sense.
Right. Oh, exactly. Well, I mean, and meaning beyond, the opportunity to go hunting with him, right? Because everybody,
who wouldn't jump at that?
yeah, or like going for a ride in his size safe or whatever.
I'll give a weird answer to Hyperion Frequency's question. It's it's actually true, but it was a personal experience of mine. One time when I was really high on LSD, I experienced what I could only describe as transitioning beyond being human, and it was a real it was the closest I ever got to understanding the concept of infinity, comprehending and visualizing and being able to actually understand and visualize and know personally infinity. And so I think that once humans understand the nature of infinity, really comprehend and can articulate and get infinity,
which one?
That's when we transition. That's when we're ready to stop being human and be something more.
That's probably why they don't want the various
which one,
research projects, right, related to,
Yeah, we're not allowed to study LSD. We're not allowed to know information. We're not allowed to know the answer to stuff. Now that's coming around. There's laws are changing on that. But I can't help but to think about that whenever I read the question of when are we as a species, as a race, going to transition or going to grow beyond human. It might be that, because that's like an unreachable, unattainable thing. It's it's infinite.
Are you talking as the wrong answer though?
I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Not
fair.
It came to mind that I wanted to talk about it.
Dave loses some points, but that's okay.
Okay.
It's all good.
Honestly, let's break ranks here on the topic real quick. I want to know what everybody thinks the real answer to this is, because we've been fucking around on it. I want to hear.
I don't think it's answerable. I think it's self-referential. Humans trying to discuss moving beyond humanity is something that's probably not even a legitimate question. Probably, it's like you could kind of get the sense of what you mean by that, but it's kind of, like an ant trying to, understand our lives and all the bullshit that the SEC is pulling on us, right? It's like I have to convince this ant that that this is reality, when really this reality is probably nothing compared to the real reality. So
I do like what you were saying about the Chinese knockoffs of Neuralink, though, Joe, because then it would make it financially accessible to the everyday average Joe.
This is true,
because Neuralink's going to be way too expensive, right? Not everybody.
That's so funny, because just like Facebook essentially uses, how do you say this? Like they monetize the brain chemicals, right? Oh, I get happy because I get these posts, this chemical thing. So the Chinese are essentially, they found a way to monetize, which I guess the U.S. has done that before them. But how can we get people? Orwell was totally wrong. We don't need to force these people, and they're going to buy it. You're going to buy the Alexa device. You're going to buy the Google Home device. For us to spy on you, right? You're going to buy the TV.
Yeah. How do you get everyone to do something that they don't want to do? Is you make it convenient, interesting, and new and popular, right?
Yeah.
Like in the, we were talking about this, referenced the 70s earlier. It's like, back when everybody was paranoid about wiretaps, or people like, keep it out of my house. I don't want wiretaps. And now it's like, hey, wiretap, play Hanson, Umbop. Thanks.
Yeah, that's that meme. Brilliant. Yeah.
I think.
Well, hey,
by the way, just so I can throw my 2 cents on this one, in all seriousness, I think that humanity has to get rid of bureaucracy before it can transcend itself. I think we have to radically individualize in a way that still allows us to live together. And that will probably involve everything from curing aging to pulling resources from the solar system, moving up the Kardashev scale, and probably probably learning to rewire the way that we think about one another, so that we can actually live with that and not sort of want to impose on everybody else.
You think bureaucracy is obsolete in the era of digital and
it is a very passive aggressive form of status quo enforcement that we can't get rid of, or we can't move past ourselves until we get rid of.
Also, I forgot we were doing wrong answers. Mine was a real answer. So
yours sounded really good. I was curious. Like, I liked your answer, man. I was hearing that. I was like, how's that?
No, that's totally wrong. I'm so sorry. In all seriousness, that was totally a wrong answer. That was not a real answer.
Yeah. Good that you brought that up, though, because a couple of people in chat came in later on in the episode and they're super confused about what's going on. The topic today is wrong answers only. So it's supposed to not make sense it's supposed to not be the right answer anyway.
Right.
So
you get pretty far through absurdity. Absurdity is an extremely useful tool in trying to find the actual answers, right?
Yep.
It is. It's like satire. You know, the best satire has a structure based on truth.
Yep.
Right.
You might have to dig for it a little bit, but
humor too, right? So yep.
Right. It's a form of intellectual merry pranksterism, really, like sort of accidentally dosing yourself with a potent psychedelic, you know, in an uncomfortable setting. Now I'm back in absurd. Okay, let's go.
All right.
All right, so next question. Happy Hippo asks, most honest person in crypto.
I didn't see this one coming. All right. I'll say it. Craig, that's right. The most honest.
Well, it's going to be either right, Craig is right, or who's the Luna guy?
Oh,
Do Kwon, or Justin Sun. I think is one of those three people is probably the most honest. All right.
Lovely.
Was Do Kwon? I'll have to look into it. Like I know who he is, but I'm just wondering if he was a liar or if people just had too much faith in him. Because I've seen a lot of his interviews and he makes good points and he says things blatantly a lot. And I'm just wondering if
well,
I don't know.
Those were not. Here's the thing. Any project like that, and you look at the numbers involved, there's a lot of institutional in there, and so there's a lot of planning and a lot of inside knowledge ahead of what happened.
He did say that he was what did he say? He's the king of stable coins or something. Basically saying I know what I'm doing and this is all awesome and it's going to work out and everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
So that would make that. I guess so. You think he's a psyop? Is that what you're saying? Sorry, I'm going.
I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I don't know on the real side if he's a psyop but I think you think about it, it's not necessarily a psyop, although it could be, if you're just trying to make a ton of money off of people, and it's you think about the big money that would come in if they knew, the result ahead of time. So. Anyway,
I'm going to go with the three-way tie here. There's a three-way tie here for me. It's a three-way tie between Mike Groniger of Chainalysis, CEO, right? Because he's keeping crypto honest by, fucking over everybody in a way that they need to be fucked over in order to maintain an appropriate controlled status quo. And then probably Mark Zuckerberg. Who's really bringing the metaverse, right? And he's going to bring us Libra one of these days too. Like that guy, totally honest. And the third runner up is Gary Gensler.
Oh, geez, well, how did I miss that one? That's a good point.
Right, because he's making sure that not only are regulations sensible and reasonably related to the real risks of cryptocurrency and not
honorably and
1933
ethically
law, but
also not just honest, is honorable and ethical as well.
Yeah,
as is their what their freaking byline, their ethics statement.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him nothing but facts and truths and accurate descriptions every time he's on some news outlet. talking about what he's doing and why the SEC is absolutely fulfilling their role to protect the individual investor in the United States and make sure that innovation can safely move forward and be
Right.
innovation itself can be protected. The sanctity
And
of
what I
innovation.
love about all his work too is that he's so upfront with it. It's not at all ad hoc or thrown together or arbitrary. There's a real plan there, and they're very public with it. It's not just regulation by enforcement. It seems like an arbitrary attack on everybody who happens to run a social media company that isn't governable by somebody at the Atlantic Council, right?
Well,
so
and you'd have to consider also their mission to protect investors and the clarity that we all have in the crypto world.
Right, the rules are laid out,
plain to what rules they
they're
laid out.
They're clear and available to anybody who wants to build in this country. There's clear guidelines and regulations that if you follow the rules, then you will do fine. You will not come under any. In fact, they will protect you from the kinds of things that they are. I don't know where I was going with that, but
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've got a person.
Okay.
And everybody has this person. It's your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving, because they're going to be 100% honest with you about cryptocurrency and everything else going on in the world.
Yes.
So next time you're looking for honesty, just call up that one uncle that you never want to see, but you have to see once a year at a family reunion or Thanksgiving. That's honesty.
Yeah, don't
be sure to stock your fridge with beer.
I think you're
and don't offer it to him, but make sure that he knows it's there.
It's got to be like Keystone Light or Bud Light. Anything with light in the title usually works.
Rice.
More than $1, it's too fancy and it's not like quality.
The most important thing to consider when purchasing a beer is the alcohol content, the to price ratio.
Yep. Ideally, Milwaukee's Beast, or if you happen to be near a Quick Trip that still has a QT beer, although I don't think they make that anymore.
I will tell you, my uncle, this true story, he says the only beer that doesn't give him a hangover, Natural Light.
I believe that.
Huh.
I believe he drinks too much to know when he's sober. But he does own a boat, so I don't know.
Hey,
yeah, the drunk uncle thing, that's pretty interesting because you don't want to conflate honesty with accuracy. Because you can be honest, you can be very, very honest. That doesn't mean you know what you're talking about.
Can I tell you? I think
you can't get a BUI in the middle of the Mississippi, right?
I think you might be breaking the rules here because, in all truth, I think the drunk uncle or uncle in general tends to be the wisdom thing that things that I used to think my uncle was crazy that he would say. All now I'm like, well, geez, I guess that was all probably right. I mean, maybe not perfectly accurate on all points, but a good bit of high level truth to it. So,
well, yeah, it totally makes sense too, because Gary Gensler, America's drunk uncle. Mark Zuckerberg, the internet's Web 2's drunk uncle, right? Like, all these people.
I think Zuckerberg's more like a freaking creepy cousin.
Yeah, I think Zuckerberg's the guy who married into the family.
He's the post
Zuckerberg's an animatronic, like a really advanced animatronic.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's answering the other question, right? So
the humanity question.
Probably Dick Cheney.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That's my vote. Everybody knows that person. They're gonna tell you what they think, whether you want, and they're gonna hold your arm while they do it. Like, come here, let me tell you about, and then it's like, yeah, I get it.
So we've got Do Kwon, Craig Wright. Somebody mentioned in chat Mashinsky, I think, because there's all those charts that said the banks are not your friend, and trust us. Who else? I'm trying to summarize all the honest people. Leave anybody out?
Thanks.
Anybody holding an original CryptoPunk and uses as their Twitter profile, but doesn't pay for the hexagon.
Yeah,
They might not have an iPhone though, right? So you have to make sure you caveat all, because I wanted to turn that on, not even to do the NFT stuff, but I was like, wait a minute, I can't. I don't have an iPhone. I'm somehow second class Twitizen. So anyway, then we have to get to the next question because
okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Good.
Game on. All right, we've got from Juicy J. Topic. I wish with all my heart to fly with dragons in a land apart.
Okay, so this is just a reference to an old cartoon. So yeah, I don't know if there's a question there.
It's a topic. We're supposed to just speak on that topic, I think, right?
I gotta say, I don't know the cartoon.
Yeah, I think it was like Dragon Tales or something, or Wish Dragon or some shit like that.
I think
it was just
Dragon.
2 kids. Yeah, it was 2 kids that found Dragon Tales. I was right. It's 2 kids who found a dragon scale and then wish to go hang out with dragons, and then hung out with dragons.
Okay.
This was after. This was when the really, really, I'm gonna say ugly cartoon imagery of dragons. I don't, it's like this weird, like Barney-esque, horrible. I did so much in my power to keep us from using similar, because they kept trying to similar imagery for the Dragon Chain Dragon JoJo. There are a couple out there that that we banned from use because they're just like, it looks like Barney. That's kind of that style too.
I feel like
I should have. Whoa!
I feel like
dragons.
I messed up.
Who
I should have
clipped their
given a wrong
wings?
answer. I didn't give a wrong answer for what the name of the show was.
Those poor animals. Look at that.
It's obviously Spyro the Dragon, who also had little nub wings. Now that I think about it,
Dude, here's a conspiracy theory for you guys. The Flintstones, Dino the dinosaur, was he taken from them when he was a child? Because he looks like he belongs in that show.
Yeah, that's true. They probably based it on that though, right? Or is that?
Yep.
I think there was like a thing in cartooning around like those years where all the cartoons just looked like that.
Here's what a cartoon dragon looks like.
Yeah,
and you buy it's like how to draw a dragon, and it says here's how you draw a dragon, that kind of thing.
And when in the Flintstones, when they jumped the shark and had the little alien dude, that was strange.
That was really fucking
the alien Flintstones.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Let me look it up.
I don't know how else to take on this topic from the list of questions other than to just go with whatever comes to mind.
They probably should have like done less mushrooms and more DMT, because then they would have focused on the animation instead of the story.
The Great Gazoo, and interestingly, he was voiced by Harvey Korman. Is that really true? It's nuts.
Weird.
That is freaking bizarre,
dude. You know what?
I'm gonna have
the shittiest job though in all of Flintstone-dom. Like all of the appliances, man. Those poor bastards.
Like the record player, I remember. Yeah.
Like, how about that poor bird that has to be the whistle at the fucking rock quarry?
Yeah,
like, that thing literally just like sits around all day, and then in the credit sequence, without even a line, just gets its tail yanked on real hard by some asshole.
Yeah.
You're like,
it's probably a pretty good gig though for back then.
I mean, I guess you could be like the Pelican toilet seat, but.
Oh my God. Wow.
I think we're actually focusing on the wrong part of this question. I'm seriously. Juicy J is the person who asked the question, and I just want to say I love your music. I think you're just an important part of the rap community, and thank you for being part of Den. Come check us out in the music layer. We're kind of struggling. So yeah, come check out the music layer, Juicy J.
Just don't downvote. Yeah.
Love you. Love your music, and wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking the question. I did not mean to make fun of the cartoon.
Oh, that's right. I'm glad that I found out that it was a reference to the Flintstones. So now I can catch up on that.
Well, I will say I would criticize that that UCJ didn't have at least a GIF, because I think when I looked it up, that image is very vibrant, and when they're holding
No,
up
I
that
think
scale.
honestly, I think it's the only question that's been decent all day because it didn't end with a question mark.
This is true. Although it has four exclamation points, which I'm very much against.
Too many or not enough?
Too much. It's like PTSD for me from 2017 answering questions whenever anybody in Telegram would ask a question. If they wanted to make sure that you answered it, they put at least 4 question marks and 3 exclamation points. So we disallowed it in the community rules. We actually said there's a banning offense if you use more than necessary.
You should have gone with a rule that says if you're going to do that, you also have to write in all caps.
Yes, this is true.
With the
I do love the spacing, so that's a good job there.
Actually, have you guys heard of the notion of tone bias in text?
Oh yeah.
The period just should not be used in modern communication if you can avoid it at all, because at best it gives you a negative tone, and at worst actually makes you seem dishonest.
The subtlety is really crazy. That's why like emoticons were created, right? Because to try to at least influence the way it's read. But that stuff is really interesting because the human mind can read in. And when I used to do contract negotiation, we would try to get as much as possible the negotiation to happen over email, because when people write things up, they will put a lot more emphasis and words around weak points. And so you can get a ton of stuff. The human mind can like pull stuff out because people do that.
Yeah, I just distinctly recall getting way fewer fights with my significant other as soon as I stopped using periods in text messages. Like, are you sure you're really there? That kind of stuff stopped happening.
That's hilarious.
Or like, the letter K stopped being a malicious assault on people's eyeballs as soon as you take the period away from it. But if you put the period on there, it's like punching things via text.
Oh, K period.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
What annoys me is when people put KKK. I never understood that. Or or KK. No, sorry, 2, not 3. Not 3. Yeah. 3 means something else. When they put the 2 in there, it's like
it's like a response, like KK. I guess
that kind okay. I
always thought it was a reference to the World of Warcraft LOL.
I don't know.
KEK.
Well, that's that's even in two very far points on the keyboard, but OK is right next to each other.
Yeah. If you're gonna do 2 letters, I see. Yeah.
I much prefer the respect fist emoji these days instead of all of the other letters.
Oh.
Was that the last thing we had on our list?
Are there more questions?
That is it. That's all of it.
That is it. I had time too. Well, basically.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess that means we've got time for me to wrap things up the proper way before the time and get the bonus, which usually I'm loath to do to myself.
1 minute and 9 seconds.
Okay, so Joe, what's up, man? What's new with you this week? We'll start.
We're doing Dragon Chain things.
Work our way left.
Yeah, we're doing all the Dragon Chain things. Having fun. Very busy. There's too much to do right now, and there are a lot of things that are, close to getting finalized, and it's all the normal stuff though.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Moving left. So
that's
Swift Doodle. Swift.
I think that's me because Dave's in the top, so it's got to be me.
I'm back. Down. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. Okay. Oh, left of you. All right.
John.
Yeah. What's going on with me? I'm looking for jobs in New York City. So if you know of anybody who's looking for a writer or I don't know somebody to pay money to, I'm here. You can find me. uh, you can, it was fun. I wrote like a big ass paragraph as like an intro thing today too, and like did not even use it. It was awesome. It's okay. I'll use it next time I'm on the show.
Right
Yeah, you can find me on Wednesday mornings on Coffee with Den, 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'm doing my best to make it. Things have been pretty crazy. But yeah, or find me on Den at T Swift or Die. I just made my Instagram public, so you can go find me there as well.
Wow.
I guess that's a thing. Yeah. I'm hoping, I don't know, I've got like a couple cool ideas I want to do on Den. I think that would be really fun. So I'm hoping to kind of get some momentum going there. We'll see.
Rock and roll, man. Well, gotta say, you got to come back on again. This is a lot of fun. You bring a sense of humor to the discussion that I thought was just a blast. I don't know.
You need to come back on when we're having a serious one. Actually, that would be probably even better. Because I don't know if you guys ever used to watch Red Eye. They've had whoever, I can't remember the name, the lead singer from Guar came on in character fully, and it was hilarious, right? Because they'd have a freaking congressman and then Guar, and it made this. It's like I would watch it just because it was so ridiculous. It was amazing.
How have they not got canceled yet?
Man,
of all the things. Anyway, okay. So Dave, what's up?
Well, Den stuff. We just we have the last couple of weeks, and part of today's Den.Dal call that we have every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, so that's coming up, will be about some algorithmic additions and changes with Den. So there's some of that going on. The last couple of GIs, the Den.Dal GIs, if you are on Den and you look in the governance section, you will have noticed that there's been a trend in the conversation. So we'll be talking about all of those things today. And let's see, what else is going on with me? I would say, here's what I'm going to say, is there's a lot of people trying to tell you what you should think about stuff out there. So do some due diligence and go to the source if you can find it, but don't assume that everything you read is factual. That isn't what's going on with me. That's just what's on my mind, and I hope people can use the noggin and be human and have a brain. I don't know. There you go.
Sweet. I like that. Is that blue milk? Anyway, sorry. Okay.
Squeeze it out of
Tatooine.
People.
Okay, and I'm going to cap things off before I outro this just with a similar kind of admonition. But my favorite thing about today's topic is absolutely the fact that you can always think of wrong answers to questions, and you can think of several, and you can think of maybe more than several, and it starts to put into your head that that even some of the wrong answers you can come up with sound plausible, right? So all of you who enjoyed this show can hold multiple ideas in your head at once, knowing some of them are not right and knowing that some of them you don't believe. And you can keep moving as human beings in the world. So think about that as you're interacting with others. Think about that as you're sharing things. Don't take anything too seriously, including yourself, but also don't be afraid to take yourself seriously. So I would just say try to do this more often, even when you're not being asked to. And I think you'll have fun with it and maybe be a little bit less likely to get pissed off by random people saying bullshit, which I think the whole world needs a little bit more of right now.
I think I might convert my entire life to that mode.
Right. No, it's a useful exercise, but it's also a lot of fun. And let's see, last but not least, if you aren't building it and it doesn't exist, what are you doing with your time? Get out there and build stuff. Rivet can help you. Polygon, that's coming in the next few weeks.
Nice. That's awesome.
And hit that like button, hit that retweet button, share the shit out of this. The more that you share, the more that you reward yourselves, the more that we grow this place, and the more cool episodes we can have like this. So also hit the alarm bells too, because you never know when those notifications aren't going to come through. So I guess let that all sink in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragon Chain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragon Chain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at dragonchain.com. America's blockchain.